Hey there. So maybe you're thinking about a trip to Dubai and you're wondering how all this news coming out of the Middle East might, impact your travel plans.
Of course. Yeah,
It's a valid concern.
definitely.
And we're here to kind of help make sense of it all, right?
Absolutely.
We've got this really timely article from The Independent.
Okay.
It's a UK newspaper,
Right.
and it's dated October 4th, 2024, so very recent.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to break it down for you.
Awesome.
So, what's the big deal here?
Right, because while these headlines, they can be overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
What's really crucial for you as someone maybe planning a trip is understanding how it directly affects travel to Dubai.
Exactly. So first things first,
Yeah.
is it actually safe to go?
Well, as of today, October 7th, the UK Foreign Office, they haven't actually issued any advice against travel to the UAE,
Oh, interesting.
despite the ongoing conflict, between Iran and Israel.
Okay, so that's reassuring.
Yeah.
But this article from The Independent, it does mention that the Foreign Office did recently update its travel advice, regarding the conflict,
Uh-huh.
even urging vigilance because of potential risks, especially those stemming from the Israel-Lebanon conflict.
Yeah.
So what's that all about?
Well, it's a nuanced situation, right?
Yeah.
You see, while the UAE itself is considered safe,
Right.
the broader region, it's undeniably volatile.
Yeah.
So the Foreign Office, they're walking a fine line here. They don't want to cause any unnecessary alarm or disrupt travel and tourism, of course. But at the same time, they have a responsibility, right, to inform citizens about potential risks.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So they're kind of acknowledging that things could, spill over,
Yeah.
even indirectly.
Exactly, precisely. Yeah, recognizing that it's a fluid situation, right?
Yeah.
Like what's considered, low risk today, it could change.
Yeah.
And it could change pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
So they just really want travelers to kind of stay informed, right, and be prepared.
Right, yeah.
Just in case.
And speaking of being prepared, this article, it talks about, flight cancellations, delays,
Sure.
especially for any routes that are passing through, like Iran, Iraq, Jordan, that whole area.
Yeah.
And they even say that Emirates and Qatar Airways have had to divert dozens of flights.
Yeah, and that's a really key point. Dozens of diversions.
Right.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, that's not just like a couple of flights,
Right.
This is a significant disruption
Right.
to kind of the normal flow of air traffic.
Right.
So, airlines are constantly rerouting. They're trying to avoid these affected airspaces,
Makes sense.
which, on the one hand, it shows their commitment to safety.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Of course. Yeah.
But it also means that,
Yeah.
your flight schedule,
Right.
it might not be as reliable.
Yeah, okay, that's starting to make me a little nervous.
Sure.
What should I do, if I've already got a Dubai trip booked?
Okay, so first of all, don't panic.
Okay.
First things first, contact your airline. Or
Okay.
your travel provider, whoever you booked through. Right. And just get the latest updates, right, on your specific flights.
Gotcha.
And confirm, what their contingency plans are if there are further disruptions.
Good advice.
Yeah.
What about travel insurance, though?
Yeah.
Does that offer any protection in this sort of situation?
That's where it gets a little,
Okay.
a little tricky.
Tricky. Okay.
It's tricky because
Yeah.
you see most standard travel insurance policies,
Oh.
they have these very specific clauses
Right.
regarding, political unrest
Right.
or military actions, things like that.
Okay.
And because the UK government isn't actually advising against travel to the UAE,
Yeah.
it might be difficult to claim a refund
Okay.
based on, saying oh, it's not safe.
Right. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying even if I'm wanting to cancel just out of an abundance of caution,
It's possible. It's possible.
my insurance might not cover me.
Yeah, your insurance might not cover you.
Yeah.
However, some policies, right, they
Right.
might cover cancellations or delays
Okay.
that are specifically caused by airspace closures,
Okay.
which we are seeing in this case.
Right.
So
It all comes back to the fine print.
it all comes down to that fine print. My advice,
Yeah.
read it carefully.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to contact your insurance provider
Yeah.
if anything is unclear at all.
Yeah. That's good advice.
Better safe than sorry, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So knowledge is power, as they say. But it sounds like even with all the right information, there's still,
Oh, yeah.
some uncertainty.
There's always going to be that element of uncertainty, especially when you're talking about, travel
Of course.
in such a complex,
Yeah, the world.
a complex world. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think, understanding the different factors at play, that's really what can help you make those informed decisions.
Right.
And potentially minimize any, disruptions to your trip.
Totally. Absolutely. Now, this whole article, right, it's been from the perspective of British travelers.
Sure.
And like the UK Foreign Office advice.
Right.
What about like other countries?
Yeah.
Do their stances on travel to Dubai, like, do those differ at all?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
That's a really good question. Like, it's easy to think, right, that every country would kind of have the same take on it.
Right, yeah.
But that's not always true.
No, not at all. So every country, they assess risk differently.
Right.
They use their own intelligence, their diplomatic relationships.
Makes sense.
Even, the travel patterns of their citizens factor in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So what one country might say is totally safe.
Right.
Another one might, advise a little bit of caution.
Okay, so just because the UK is saying, yeah, Dubai is fine.
Right, exactly.
Doesn't mean that, like, everyone else is on the same page.
Unnecessarily, no.
Gotcha.
That's why it's like so important to check those travel advisories from your own government, right?
Right.
Because they often have, really specific information recommendations.
Oh,
even if their overall stance is kind of similar
to
what the UK is saying.
Right. Like maybe they have a different take on the whole Israel-Lebanon thing, or
exactly.
Or maybe there's like certain areas they're saying, be a little more careful or something.
Exactly. Or they might even have, different recommendations in terms of like visas, vaccinations,
Right.
Even just local laws and customs, things like that.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's always best, honestly, to go straight to the source and get that most up-to-date information.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So much good information, to keep in mind.
A lot to think about.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll make sure to put some links in the show notes. Like,
oh, good idea.
How to even find your country's travel advisories, all that good stuff.
Yeah, because not everybody knows where to look for that.
Exactly.
So it's great.
Always good to be prepared.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, just a reminder.
Yeah.
We are not the Foreign Office.
Yeah.
We're not like, official travel agents or anything like that.
Definitely not.
We're just your fellow travel enthusiasts, trying to like figure this stuff out.
Figure it out together.
One deep dive at a time, right?
Exactly. That's what we do here.
And speaking of deep dives, this whole like comparing how different countries deal with travel advisories and risk and all that, like.
Yeah, that'd be fascinating.
That could be a whole other deep dive.
I'd listen to that for sure.
Right. Lots to unpack there.
Absolutely.
But for now, if you're planning that trip to Dubai, stay informed, check those advisories.
Yes.
And most importantly,
have fun.
Have an amazing time.
Safe travels.
Safe travels, everyone.